highlighting the FCS team response to COVID-19. I would like to welcome Dean Cox for joining us this afternoon, and also share regrets from Dr. Stevenson, who had planned to be with us, but unfortunately her schedule had a last-minute conflict. I've been looking forward to this session since y'all added it to the program, that over the last 7, 8, 9 months, the work that you all have put forth, and I've said it numerous times, but literally you turned on a dime overnight and took our traditional face-to-face programming and began delivering it in new, different, and unique ways. And not only did you take our traditional programming, but you have also created and developed new programming very specific to COVID-19. So I am thrilled to learn from each of y'all today, and for you to have the opportunity to share across areas and across districts about your specific response to COVID-19. If you do have questions for individual presenters, please put those in the chat box. As time allows, we will circle back to those at the end of today's presentation. If for some reason we run short on time, we will share those comments directly with the presenters and ask that they reach out to you individually. I will say, Dean Cox, you're welcome to ask questions anytime you would like to ask questions, and we will be happy to answer those. So we are going to kick off with District 1 with Mandy Broderick and Olivia Ferris sharing about their Dining with Diabetes online program.
Okay, Mindy, do you have the PowerPoint slides? Okay, there we go. Thank you. So I'm Mandy Broderick. I'm the FCS agent in Lewis County. And today I just want to talk about a couple of creative ways that my partner in crime, Olivia Ferris, and I have done to do virtual programming in this definitely unprecedented time. So earlier this year, we did Dining with Diabetes completely virtual. So here you can actually see what that flyer looked like. We took the flyer that we have for the normal in-person program, and basically just instead of having a location, we put, participate virtually on Zoom. Mindy, if you want to go ahead to the next slide. There we go. So you're probably wondering, well, if we're doing this virtually, how on earth do you get people to sign up, and how do you protect your Zoom link? So what we did is we actually created a Qualtrics form. So on this form, we had people enter their name, their age, all the demographic stuff, their email address, and we also had this. So this is actually the pre-survey for Dining with Diabetes. You can see there what it looked like on mobile, and on the left, what it looked like on a PC. Go ahead to the next slide, Mindy. So we marketed this pretty much similar to how you would market it for a normal in-person program. So this is actually a really cool graphic that Olivia made. Now the program itself met on Zoom. So after they signed up on that Qualtrics link, what I did is each and every week, just in case they forgot or lost the link, you know how that goes, I would go ahead and I would mail that link back out with a reminder that, hey, our class is at noon today. Hope to see you there. Go ahead and click to the next one. Okay, here's an example of what that looked like after they filled it out. So here you can actually see all of the questions that are on the pre-survey for Dining with Diabetes. So there's, which food raises the blood sugar, the plate method. You can see all the responses just like that. Go ahead to the next one. And what we did is when we did these classes, we also recorded them. So just in case, maybe you weren't available at noon on whatever day of the week we did it on. So the cool thing about virtual programming is not only can you do it, at the time of the program, but you can also record it and recycle and reuse it. So we recorded this, and this little thing here that Olivia made actually is showing what we did is we put it on YouTube and on Facebook. So go ahead to the next slide, Mindy. And the cool thing about that is if you see down here is it actually captures an entire new audience. So Olivia did. She worked really hard on this. She went in and she added closed captions for these videos so that people that were deaf or hard of hearing could also participate in our class. And this was really successful. We had people from all over the nation participate in this. We had people from Ohio, Kentucky. I think the furthest one was Connecticut, but it was actually a really neat program and it worked really well. So I think that might be, oh, and this is another example. So we put it on Facebook and I also archived it on our YouTube page. Just in case something happened there on Facebook, we have a backup copy as well. But yeah, I think that's pretty much the gist of what we did with Dining with Diabetes. And I'm going to let Olivia talk because she also has a really neat Google Classroom thing that she did this year.
Okay, I think we can go to the next slide. Okay, great. So when we were approached about doing this, we were also asked about a program that I did with Google Classroom, which if you were a parent or a grandparent or anybody with kids, I'm sure you love Google Classroom right now with all the virtual learning. So I decided to take something that our kids were already using and kind of use that to implement a cooking program within the home. So the way that a Google Classroom class works, you have to have a Google account. So I created a video that walked people through step by step on how to do that. And then you just send out a code, which you can see here. I just made a flyer with that code and they can join your Google Classroom. Okay, next slide. So this is what it looks like once they're inside of there. So there's assignments, there's classwork, there's a stream that's almost like your Facebook news feed, so people can comment on there. I always put a disclaimer that this is something that's educational and positive, so it was really great to see people while we were quarantined getting to interact and show off what they had prepared using our extension recipes and things like that. So while I only had 5 families enroll in this, I actually reached over 20 people because they ended up getting their husbands involved or their wives or partners. They had their children involved. So it became something that was almost a family event instead of just an individual. Next slide. So I wanted to reach more than just those 5 families, and a lot of people did struggle with the Google Classroom. So I ended up doing programs on the go where I printed off the materials. Every other week I did this and had recipes available. And if you're looking down there at the bottom, that is actually a paper bag that I folded in half and put 2 holes in it. And then I put holes in all the recipe cards. So by the end of it, they had a cookbook with all the recipes that we use from the program to go along with their nutrition education calendar. Next slide. So this is one of our participants. She actually did this with her mom and her little sister, and she shared that with me. So this was in the spring, of course, so that's one of our volunteers doing the April recipe. They really, really enjoyed it, and they were really great participants. So not only did this program cover nutrition, but I also wanted to mention that one of the first lessons in it was about hand washing and stuff like that, which is very relevant and applicable to right now. And what was also interesting, when I got the email from this participant, she said that she had to show her mom how to do Google Classroom. So it was really interesting to see our youth actually helping adults through this program as well. Next slide. Okay, I guess that's it. So we did do the virtual dining with diabetes, but I also wanted to share with you all that Google Classroom is also another tool you can use if, I know we've all learned Zoom, but if you're wanting to, branch out and do some more things, I'd be happy to answer any questions from that as well. So thank you all.
Mandy and Olivia, I think that you highlighted 2 things there that we've learned through remote programming, and one of them is about expanding our reach and the opportunity to introduce folks to Extension and bring them to our offices virtually that we've not had the opportunity to program with before, as well as helping individuals learn new technology and really adapt in our current normal. So we will move on now to District 2 and Alyssa Cox.
Hi, everybody. Like Dr. Hunter mentioned, my name is Alyssa Cox. I am the agent for Family and Consumer Sciences in Wolfe County, and I'm going to be sharing about Wolfe County Recovery Week with lots of snapshots to keep in theme for our meeting. Next slide, please. So early on in the pandemic, Dr. Alex Ellswick did a webinar called Everybody is Recovering from Something. And we learned that people who are recovering from a substance use disorder were finding it difficult to maintain their sobriety during COVID-19 because many of them were lacking the social support, which is essential to maintaining a healthy recovery. And on the slide, you can see the findings from a study that was conducted here in Kentucky that shows a significant increase in the number of overdoses that have occurred since the pandemic began. So in response to this emerging issue, Wolfe County Cooperative Extension, Wolfe County Family Resource and Youth Service Center, and the Wolfe County Agency for Substance Abuse Policy partnered to host Wolfe County Recovery Week. And the purpose of this week was to keep people motivated to stay actively involved in their recovery, while also disseminating research-based information surrounding addiction and recovery, as well as COVID-19. So we kicked the week off with recovery yoga. This event was free to the public and was led by a certified yoga instructor. We all kept our 6-foot distance and had our masks on whenever we left our yoga mats. But since yoga has been shown to have long-term benefits in the management of addictive behaviors, the Agency for Substance Abuse Policy actually offered a free 10-class voucher to those in recovery to be redeemed at any yoga studio of their choice so they could continue their yoga practice. Next slide, please. Next, we hosted a community-wide road cleanup.
Patients are hired, that could be a form of retaliation, right? That's an example of what could potentially happen.
So we thought that community service typically increases morale, so we thought this would be a great event. So we offered free cleaning kits to everybody that wanted to participate, which included gloves, a mask, some reflective vests, and some trash grabbers, and encouraged them to clean up anywhere that they wanted to in Wolfe County. And we had a lot of participation with that, and it turned out really great. Next slide, please. Next, we hosted a recovery celebration. Throughout the week, we shared photos of people who were going through recovery along with their testimony on our Facebook page and kind of gave them a boost up. And then on Thursday of that week, we had a Facebook Live event where we lit a sparkler in honor of each of those individuals and told a little bit about them. All of the individuals mentioned also got a celebration bag with some goodies inside, as well as information about local drug and alcohol dependency resources. We had a total of 45 people recognized during that event. So it was really great that they wanted to share about their journey with recovery. Next slide, please. Then we wrapped it up with the Recovery Run virtual 5K. It was a free virtual 5K, and it was structured a lot like the 5K in May that Natalie Jones did for us. We had a total of 226 people registered for this 5K, and 165 of those participants filled out the finish line survey that we sent to them with Qualtrics. And that's where we learned some of their proudest moments, and some of them I pulled and put on your screen there. They really touched me. Next slide, please. And finally, the impact. So we had a total of 369 people participate in all of our Recovery Week events. And while we really like the numbers, and those are really important, I think as extension agents, we all know that the most important part to us is getting feedback from our clientele. And so I pulled some of these comments from our Facebook posts that we had during Recovery Week, and some of these were private messages to our office. And some of the bigger bubbles, those were pulled from an interview that some of our participants did with Katie Pratt in a news article for the College of Ag. So, next slide, please. Thank you. If you all have any questions, please let me know. And if you would like to view any of our snapshots, you can look at our Facebook page. You can also view our recovery celebration video on our Facebook page, Wolfe County Extension Office.
Alyssa, thank you so much for sharing. As you all well know, that substance use prevention and recovery was the top highlighted issue through the recent needs assessment, and I applaud the Wolfe County Extension Office for identifying ways to continue programming in that area during this time. District 3 with Kathy Burns, addressing programming for unconnected audiences, and I know that's a question that we have had a lot during this time.
Thank you, Dr. Hunter. I am Kathy Burns, District 3 up in the northern Kentucky part of the state. And Mindy did ask me to talk about an effort I did with an unconnected audience in our area. This is St. Aloysius. It's a former parochial school located in Covington, Kentucky. The school was built in 1933 and served students until 1979, when, like many urban parish schools, it was forced to close due to lower enrollment. But soon after that, it was renovated to be residential, and it's been so ever since. It's an independent living complex. It has 48 units in it. It features a variety of ages and abilities in the building. Since it is a HUD Section 8 community, rental assistance is available, but those who live there must be age 55 or older, low income, or disabled. So as you can imagine, most of these folks do not have access to the internet, and so we might consider them to be unconnected. In 2018, their service coordinator, Amy Sargent, had contacted me to see if I would do some programming with the group. I started there doing monthly lessons like a lot of us do, a lot of nutrition education. You know, you become the cooking lady that I know a lot of everyone else is doing as well. I was really pleased though. I had a really good core group of about 12 to 14 people that joined me most months. But in March, when COVID closed down and St. Aloysius and most of my traditional programming did as well, I spent a couple of months, maybe like some of you, trying to figure out what to do next. So first of all, I want to give a big thank you to our state FCS staff because they immediately jumped into action and developed a lot of materials for us to use. I look back and starting as early as February 27th, there were many information releases on the website. And on a personal note, that was especially good for me because through COVID, our newspaper's finally been publishing my news articles. So that has been a great source and another place to reach unconnected folks. So the last time I was able to visit St. Aloysius was February 10th, and I was checking on them through their coordinator via email. And at first I could only think traditionally and that I probably wouldn't be able to be there for a while. But then we received the sizzling summer materials. And as most of you know, this is a 6-week series. It was scheduled for mid-June to the end of July. So I contacted Emmy to see if she thought we could do something with that through the residents. And she was really excited about it. We determined that I could select lessons, activity sheets, and print them on nice, really colorful paper, deliver them to the building, and she could distribute them to the residents. As you can see, here's a lot of our folks. We did the Sizzling Summer series, part of the lessons, because they weren't all applicable to this audience, but we did come up with a 4-week series and a challenge with each of them. So in the center is the nice original flyer we had where my great staff assistant was able to adjust it as we made it a 4-week, and our dates were a little bit different than the earlier one. But we selected articles and puzzle sheets and tried to come up with some activities that would be of interest to these men and women and to work in their setting. But we ended up focusing on the light exercise, the healthy eating, the food safety, and mental health. The residents had to turn an activity sheet to the coordinator each week to be part of our challenge. Her office is right there in the building, so they were able to just put it in our mailbox anytime, day or night. Let's see. I was also able to use the state evaluation for this program. I just edited out the questions for the lessons that we did not cover. So that worked out well for me and hopefully our state evaluation. Residents just returned the paper copy to Emmy, and after the 4 weeks, she gave them a lunch bag with some of the goodies that we had to reinforce, and that was part of the food safety lesson that we had covered. So you can see them there. I asked her if she'd take a picture of them for me. And we also had a drawing with names of all the participants, and a basket was assembled with some items we had donated here at the office. So since the success of the Sizzling Summer program, we're now working on the Holidays at the Home materials. On our last slide, you'll see their coordinator. This is Emmy Sargent. Emmy's really easy to work with. And when I shared, for example, the Halloween scavenger hunt with her, she agreed to hide items throughout the building. And I developed a worksheet where they saw the items and they had to identify where they found them and return those to her as, again, part of our challenge. And we're still planning a Christmas scavenger hunt and a holiday riddle to solve sometime next month. 2021 is quickly approaching, and I doubt that I'm going to get there in the next few months. So I'm thinking next I might use the 30 meal deals because I haven't really done that with this group, or wait and see what other goodies our state staff comes up with for us. And that is, you can see I'm closing with a note that I shared from Emmy, sent to me. It means an awful lot to me to hear from her and the residents that they haven't forgotten me, and to let them know I haven't forgotten them, and that hope to see them soon. So just, I think technology is great. Just remember, we can still connect with the unconnected. Thanks.
Kathy, I know we have several of our state specialists on the call this afternoon, and I know this is always exciting for us to see the materials that are put together at the state level and how agents take those materials, translate them into their own or what will specifically work in their county, and then use them with clientele. So greatly appreciate you sharing those examples today. We'd like to welcome Diana Doggett with District 4 that is going to share with us about Job Club and the transition from a local program to a statewide effort.
Thank you, Dr. Hunter, and greetings to all the colleagues. It's my pleasure to share the impact that COVID-19 has had on Job Club. Job Club is the purpose. We established a purpose in the beginning to provide a positive environment for motivated job seekers to connect, to learn, to share, and to meet. And we meet the second and fourth Tuesday of each month year-round. Job Club was created during a time in 2013 when companies were downsizing due to a recession, and mid-career employees were scrambling to find employment, something they had not had to do for many years. Facilitators include the Fayette County Cooperative Extension Office, the University of Kentucky Alumni Association, and the UK Human Resources Department. As with any program, it took time and research to make the decision to launch Job Club. And as with any community outreach program, the program's value, mission, and vision had to be defined. So to maintain its effectiveness, Job Club is dedicated to being visionary in planning content, program delivery, marketing, and networking. This computes to equipping job seekers with present-day job search strategies necessary to obtain employment that meets their skill set. Job Club uniquely fulfills the land-grant mission. The impact of COVID-19 seemed devastating at first until we reimagined our delivery mode and audience. In an effort to continue to provide Job Club, an important community resource, while practicing responsible social distancing during the evolving COVID-19 situation, the 2020 late spring, summer, and fall schedules were offered online via Zoom webinar. This format assured participant anonymity and an important concept to many job seekers. It also expanded our list of presenters and attendees, as travel is not an issue. We are also able to maintain small group networking and support in breakout rooms. We tried not to entirely reinvent the wheel. We will continue annual programs that do well, such as our HR panel and our success story panels. Success breeds success and reinforces the need to seek out help. Another outcome of COVID is the newsletter that we sent to all Job Club attendees following each session. Included our job leads, career advice, extension financial resources, UK Extension's Healthy at Home newsletter, and additional online learning opportunities. We also include a short survey for first-timers and a more comprehensive evaluation annually. New since COVID is the Central Kentucky Job Club sharing community on LinkedIn. So attendees can preview job leads as we receive them, even in between sessions. Also, traditionally we provided a printed copy of a job search guide. As a result of COVID-19, we sped up an expanded packet for an online distribution. The free Job Club resource packet includes all of our resources listed on the slide. Job Club's impact on the lives of families is both measurable and gratifying. As a 25-year extension veteran, I must admit no other program has evoked more emotion for me personally than receiving the "I got the job" email or phone call. And to think this occurs 1, 2, 3 times a month. Justification for the program is the number of reported secured jobs, impacting the economy and individual and family well-being. When faced with the uncertainty on how to carry on when the pandemic hit, Job Club facilitators explored all options and did not miss a session. By all accounts, Job Club has been a Huge success. Job Club notification and registration details are now sent to all 120 county extension offices bi-monthly. And we have also added Facebook Live so that this provides an accessible recording of each session. Agents simply market Job Club through their customary methods and can count their county participation. Job Club has the support of FCS Extension and the Office of Philanthropy UK, and we just need to continue to define Job Club not as a Fayette County program, but as a shared resource for all Kentucky citizens. I also had the opportunity to provide bi-monthly updates on extension, and this has been very rewarding. I do mention Fayette County programming from all program areas, but it also gives me the opportunity to direct participants to their local extension offices. A huge asset for Job Club participants is to have access to trained career counselors with years of experience. This is a great example of Extension's role of disseminating research-based information and services. I close with a couple of quotes from recent successful job seekers. We have these posted on our website. We have over 200. And believe me, it's a go-to place when I get distracted with today's problems. So when meeting in person, each success story was presented in person with celebration. Today, we now do that virtually. We also provide professional headshots for those in need. And for the future, here's the lineup for fall 2020. We are close to announcing the winter schedule. We never take a month off because joblessness does not. In the aftermath of the pandemic, Job Club will continue to connect with job seekers reaching far beyond the walls of Fayette County Extension. And based upon its outcomes, it is evident that Job Club has helped so many families, and personally, I've been inspired beyond measure. So until next time, we hope to see you on November the 24th as we discuss the benefits of working in temporary positions. Thank you.
Diana, thank you for sharing. Job Club is one program that I've certainly been excited about. I had the opportunity to be involved with it very early on as a specialist, and we've always had the desire to figure out a way to make it statewide because we know the resources and the content that is able to be shared from the UK campus as well as many of the industry leaders around Lexington is just resources that are not available in all areas of the state. So I'm really excited that COVID has brought this opportunity about to be able to grow the Job Club program. And I will just say too, not that I'm on the job market, but some of the topics really intrigue me, and occasionally I'll pop on and listen just because I think there's something we can all learn from some of the information shared. And now I'd like to welcome Natalie Tall with District 5, sharing about the On Hand Olympics.
Yes, thank you all very much for this opportunity. So I will be talking about On Hand Olympics, which was a partnership between Dana Fentress, the Hardin County FCS agent, and myself, Natalie Tall, and I'm here in Grayson County. So what we did, Dana actually came up with this idea, and she came at me and was like, hey, I have this idea of reaching a younger audience. You know, we have our fellow 4-H agents who are reaching the school-age children, but Dana and I both work fairly closely with family resource centers and the early childhood councils in our communities. And so we really wanted, and we both have successful Laugh and Learn Playdate programs. So we wanted to find a way to reach those families of younger children, 0 to 5, or that 3 to 5, like early childhood age range. Next slide, please. So that was kind of our goal. And what we did is we used items around the house. So the idea was Dana would kick it off with a video and challenge me in Grayson County to use something I had on hand. Because during this time, we were all in our homes, and there was no going out to get extra supplies to do anything anything that would be skill building wise, you know, with our children. And so I think we used cardboards, cotton swabs, all kinds of things, and we'll get to that. But we thought it would create just a little friendly competition between neighboring counties, and we would reach a broader audience if we kind of came together and gave it that friendly back and forth competition. So the challenge would last 1 week. We would post 1 video per day to social media, and we would use whatever item we were challenged. And then we would post, we encourage people to post pictures of their own creations using hashtags, and the videos that using hashtag On Hand Olympics. So the videos that you're seeing, they're not, or the pictures that you're seeing are not the best quality. These are screen grabs because most of these were live videos. And you'll see throughout this, Dana and I were able to actually rope in our own kids as we were doing these because they were the perfect age. She had, not newborn, but I think Riley was like maybe 6 months old whenever we started. And then I have a 4-year-old. And so it was perfect to actually give examples and show them utilizing those examples in the videos, just to give it more of a real life feel for our families. So these are some of the items that we used: cotton swabs, paper plates, straws, cornstarch, empty containers, and egg cartons, just to name a few. And the video clips that you're seeing there is Dana making oobleck with cornstarch, and she also made a moon dough. And we had families reply back to us. We were able to directly interact with families, and you'll see that a little bit later here in a second. And then the other video clip is my daughter and I showing how to make binoculars out of toilet paper rolls, and we have a ramp in the background there that we could roll balls, you know, like the ball pit balls, which we didn't have. So that was a learning opportunity for families as well. I charged my 4-year-old with looking for round objects that would roll in my house, and so that worked out great as well. So what was next? We did this challenge. We each posted a video each day, and everybody was really interacting and liking the videos. And how are we going to continue to reach those people? So what we did is we created an On Hand Olympics closed Facebook group, and we advertised it in both of our counties, and we had a schedule that we stuck to for about 2 months after the actual week-long challenge. So we have over 300 people joined the Facebook group. We surveyed participants to see how old their kiddos were, what time of day was the best for them to see videos, and what they wanted to learn more about. And then within this group, they were able to actually share videos or pictures of their kids actually participating. And you see one of the posts that we had challenged them to use money for learning. We also wanted to incorporate more education, and so we started a Word of the Day Wednesday, and then on Fridays we would share extension related publications. Some of them were geared towards the kids, and some of them were geared towards the adults. Next slide. So this is where you see we had some direct interaction with families. People were giving their suggestions. We used shaving cream one time as a hands-on activity, and we really tried to educate people on how these activities are building their school readiness and skills that they'll need whenever they get into school, because it doesn't always seem that that's what they're doing. So here we have people sending that they loved our ideas and what they were doing, and kind of taking it and making their own. So we were able to directly be in contact with these individuals that way. So this is just an example of some of the posts that we used throughout the week. Dana went into Canva and created these beautiful pictures that we used, and so it was consistent throughout the week, or throughout the page. And we had Word of the Day Wednesday, where we focused on early childhood learning, and then of course electric pressure cookers was one of the ones that one of the extension publications that we focused on. So that just kind of gives you an idea of what our continuing education looked like in the Facebook group. Okay, and I think that's it. And we still continue to post in the On Hand Olympics Facebook group. It's not as consistent as it was, you know, early on, just because we've done some different programming than, you know, coming back into the office. But we still are able to advertise early childhood learning opportunities in both of our counties, and we've been able to actually reach a different audience coming into that are utilizing our extension offices and programs outside of On Hand Olympics. So we feel like it was successful, and we still have access to these individuals to continue to evaluate the program in the future.
Natalie, thank you so much. I will tell you, I so enjoy both your and Dana's creativity during this program that I would go in and look each week just to see what are you going to come up with next. And it was just really fun. And I thought very positive, especially during the time when it was launched. And I think everyone was feeling so much stress that it really kind of gave parents just the opportunity to breathe and enjoy their kiddos at home. District 6, Christy Shy is going to share with us about From Studio to DIY Farm and Home Show.
Thank you, Dr. Hunter. Hi, everyone. It's good to see many of you. When I became an agent in August 2019, I inherited the position of co-hosting a television show. In Warren County, we're very fortunate to have a television station. The Farm and Home Show is hosted by myself and our agriculture agent, Joanna Coles. The show is aired through WBKO, which is an ABC, CW, and Fox affiliate. So that reaches 16 counties in South Central Kentucky. The show airs at 6:15 a.m. and 7:15 a.m. Monday through Friday, and the show gives us the ability to deliver short educational segments to a wide and diverse population almost every day of the week. Each segment is worth $3,300 in earned media, so it's a very wonderful opportunity for us. Before COVID hit, we would film on Tuesdays at noon for 1 hour. Our guests would come to us and we would knock out 5 segments in 1 hour, and then we really didn't have to think about the show until the following Tuesday. But then COVID happened. And when COVID happened, only the most essential workers were allowed in the studio, so the news anchors, understandably. But we really did not want to lose this opportunity and these time slots. So we had to learn how to produce our segments in-house and to do it safely. Thankfully, the agents who had designed the building before I came on had planned for us to have a media room. So we already had the space designated for filming, but we had just not fully set it up yet. Not only were we learning how to self-produce, but we were also having to come up with timely content because none of our scheduled guests could come and do interviews with us, and we had not yet learned how to do virtual interviewing. But everyone pitched in so many different ways, cheering each other on, trying not to cry. But we were working hard to make sure that we had at least 5 episodes for WBKO to air each week. Then they actually started airing our segments at 5:15, 6:15, 7:15, and 8:15 every day. So no pressure, right? So while it was a lot of work, a lot of people were introduced to the cooperative extension service because of how frequently the show was airing. So once our episodes air, they are then uploaded to Facebook and our YouTube channel. And I'm sorry, Mindy, you can go to the next slide. So once our episodes air, we upload them to Facebook and our YouTube channel. And this allows us to extend our reach with the content that we've already created. So this really has reminded us how powerful social media truly is. So even if you don't have a television station in your county, there's a lot you can do with social media. Facebook and YouTube are amazing platforms to share content and capture numbers. I know many of us, we know this. On Facebook, you can go to your page insights and track so many things, your post reach, engagement, page views, responsiveness, and more. So we love numbers at Extension. And so Facebook and YouTube, they're really great tools for us right now and great for reporting. Even if you don't have fancy equipment, you can still create good videos. But a few basic items can enhance your videos. And I wasn't sure how much time that I would have. So I actually created a QR code, and it's on the screen. But it basically shows some of our most essential equipment items that we use to film our show. If you have a smartphone, you can open up your camera and hold it over the QR code, and then a link will pop up, and then that will take you to our equipment list. And I'm happy to send that to Mindy or to anyone who would actually like to have it in person. But basically it just shows we film with an iPhone. We have a microphone, we have a few lights. And so I know a lot of agents who make very beautiful videos, and I am learning from a lot of people, but those are just some of our most basic equipment items. And if you've ever been a guest on the Farm and Home Show, I truly appreciate you so much, because if it was just me coming up with all the content, I think we would lose our viewers pretty fast. But yeah, so that's basically all I have for you today, and I'll be happy to answer any questions if you have it.
Christy, thank you so much for sharing, and kudos to you and Joanna both for what you have been able to pull off with the Farm and Home Show in a remote environment. It is no secret to y'all or around here that I am trained as an economist, and our state specialists often give me a hard time that I have so much to learn in our other programming areas. And so there's definitely been tidbits that, as I've watched you all record on the Farm and Home Show over the last several months, that I have had the opportunity to pick up and learn from. And also congratulations on the expanded time offerings of the program, because I know when I was recording it, they were always offered so early in the morning. So I think it's great that it's reaching a more broad audience at this time. Okay, and we will wrap up with the Wild West, District 7, Melissa Goodman and Vicki Wynn sharing about their lifelong learning project.
Thank you, Dr. Hunter. Thank you. Yes, I'm Vicki Wynn. Melissa's going to be joining me, and we're going to share with you about our lifelong learning series. Just so you can meet our agents in District 7 in the Purchase area. And I'm glad that Dr. Hunter said the Wild West, because we're very fond of that term, and we appreciate it being recognized. And yes, our Building Strong Families with the Lifelong Learning Series was something that we created to meet people where they are, and just making sure that we are responsive to the needs of our families in the midst of the COVID pandemic.
Okay, so what led to the Lifelong Learning Series is we needed to reach 828 extension homemakers who needed connection to their local county extension offices during the pandemic. We knew that they were a higher risk population, and we wanted to safely be able to offer programming to them as an area as planned, and then that way it was something that, you know, they were going to expect anyway, and we could offer it in a safe dissemination of information. We normally program monthly to approximately 47 plus homemaker lesson leaders and community members that come into 4 county locations to get a homemaker lesson topic to go back and teach their clubs. And so this is the story of how we extended our reach through teamwork and working together, and putting all of our resources together to still be able to accomplish that in a hybrid format. And I'll let Vicki walk you through some of that.
So to compare the before and after COVID methods of program delivery, you can see pre-COVID, it was face-to-face, very traditional train-the-trainer type, where those who came to the lessons would leave with materials to be shared with their membership or throughout their groups. Lesson materials were also mailed to at-large members during this presentation method, and usually evaluations occurred immediately following the sessions. So very traditional. Let's flip then to after COVID. Lesson materials were mailed or emailed to all who wished to receive them. We started compiling lists of those who preferred to have hard copies as opposed to an email with an online version. Then we developed video segments that complemented the print resources. The video segments are not meant to replace those lesson materials in a print format, but just to really enhance and to offer more information just in that video format. Our social media platforms and YouTube channel seem to be a very good fit for people to access if that was their preference. In the print materials, we did include how to access that information in the social media platform and on the YouTube channel, so that we felt like everyone had a how-to access regardless of what their preference was. In addition, we compiled a MailChimp listserv, not only for those people who wanted to receive the lesson materials throughout the learning series, but also that we might be able to reach them with other extension learning opportunities from the different program areas within our offices. So Qualtrics surveys also play a very big part in this after and during COVID. We really are able to get more feedback, and once they've learned how to use those QR codes, once they understand how easy that is and how important it is that we get that information back, we've continued to have very good response using that method.
Okay, so far we've offered 3 lessons specifically that we have outcome reported for. The first lesson was visioning, the second was healthy homes, pest, integrated pest management, and the third was on fermented foods. Currently this week we've released the state challenge for use less, spend wisely. But with our participant outcomes reported, you can see here that they are filling out that Qualtrics form. We also are giving them the opportunity to bring paper forms back to the office if they choose to. And so 67% have said that they would buy fewer toxic pesticides, 81% to implement IPM steps to minimize pest infestations, plan to consume food that contain probiotics was at 96%, the plan to write a personal or organizational vision or goal at 71%. So those are just a few of our outcomes. And on the next slide, you'll be able to see that they would recommend this learning experience to a friend. So another opportunity that we have is outside of our traditional homemaker audience. We know that we are reaching non-traditional extension users potentially through this because 74% said they would promote the content to a friend or share it with them. We also have ways through the MailChimp that we can see whether or not they're forwarding the emails to other people, and they are doing that. We do have 15% that are passive and 11% who are detractors, but we have overwhelmingly more people who are excited about getting the content this way. And we have 2 little air bubbles up here that talk about how One person said, thanks for giving us the opportunity to have inspired lesson in this pandemic time. And another person said, thank you for making all attempts to continue the program amid the COVID crisis. And that's one thing we wanted to do, is to make sure that people knew that their extension offices were still open, operating, and serving them in whatever way we could.
Okay, to give you an idea of the audience reach, that we have had to meet people where they are. No longer can we schedule a meeting at the office and say, come and get this material. So the delivery methods they're most comfortable with, the slide that said what led to the Lifelong Learning Series and what was once to reach 828 Extension Homemakers, we now share that same information and more through these methods, and we're able to communicate with them via Qualtrics responses to know if their needs are being met and what additional needs they may have that we can address. So as you can see, we had a program preview that was viewed over 1,000 times, and because of that program preview on social media, the local cable access channel in my county saw that. So I was approached, and I say this not kidding, but sort of, it took a pandemic for my local cable access to realize that there is value in extension information. But as a result, I'm filming segments for them now monthly, and we're reaching about 16,000 people in 5 counties through that. Our YouTube subscribers, we're at 74. Our goal is at 100. So if you're not a subscriber, we would love it if you would go and follow us on our YouTube channel. And our Facebook views continue to increase. And as Melissa has said, we're offering more challenges. We're getting a lot more interest in the information that's been released from our state specialists throughout the past several months. So we are really starting to utilize that MailChimp listserv, and we're looking toward future programming. We're thinking of the Cook Together, Eat Together in this format. Also a women's health fair. We've got some other ideas that we think future programming would be a good fit in some of these methods. A few years ago, we offered a Spring into Green program that was a multi-county program. And of course, we did that for several years, and interest, it waned a little bit. And so we decided to give it a rest. But Melissa and I have been thinking this would be a perfect way to deliver a conference, Spring into Green, like we had. It was a half-day conference, and it's so much easier to get featured speakers to devote an hour or so and present information via Facebook Live or an online format. So our wheels have started turning into bringing that specific program back and just delivering it in the new methods. And just keeping in mind, all of these numbers, all of these statistics have just occurred from August through October of this year.
Thank you, guys.
Melissa and Vicki, thank you for sharing, again, new and unique programming ideas to continue to not only reach our traditional audience, but also to reach out to new audiences. And several things that you all just said that I think resonate with so many of the programs that I've seen offered over the last several months is that your goal has been to meet people where they are. And I think that that's something that we've all been working towards in Extension. And one of 10 years from now, when we step back and we look at what are the positives that came out of the pandemic, that I truly believe that this will be one of them, is that we learn to engage our audiences on their own time, at their own place, and continue to educate. And then you also highlighted the need to continue to meet clientele needs, to let them know that their extension office is still there and still working for them. Thank you to all of our presenters today. We could have spent the entire afternoon sharing. I have the unique opportunity that I see most of your newsletters as they come across my desk. So I have, I think, a decent gauge on the breadth of programming that's being offered across the state. But I know one thing that we've lost during this time is for the opportunity for you all to interact with each other and to learn from each other and to engage in what other areas or districts may be doing. So I hope that this is a chance to maybe spark some new ideas that you may have and think about how, as we go into winter and spring programming, that you might be able to bring new and different things to your local community. I would also like to again thank Dean Cox for joining us this afternoon and learning more about our programming efforts. I do want to share with you all that Dean Cox continually gives her support to FCS Extension, and it is very, very much appreciated that I know she shares on up the great work that y'all are out there doing each and every day. And I also would like to thank her. She'll be joining us on Friday as well for a portion of the awards banquet. We do have a few minutes left. I was following the chat as we went through the session, and several of y'all reached out in terms of support for your fellow agents and program sharing idea. But if you have any questions that you might like to ask, we have a few minutes left in today's time frame.
Can I just say that everyone that I reached out to said yes, and that is, first of all, speaks to the great power of your programming and also your willingness to be a part of our team and to lead and share with others. And from the bottom of my heart, I thank you for that.
Okay, I do encourage you that if this sparks some ideas that you want to learn more about how did they do that or how did they make that happen, or as Jeannie may have pointed out, I might need to order a giant timer. So Christy, I might have to reach out for where you get your giant timer, or we might need about 15 giant timers. For our office. But if y'all have any questions for your fellow agents, I know that they would be more than happy to answer them and help share resources and materials. Again, it's been an amazing effort over the last 9 months and something that should not be understated in any way, shape, or form. So congratulations to y'all for the great work that you've continued to do during this very difficult time.
So you all have a few extra minutes, and I encourage you to take that and go stretch or do whatever you need before our 3:30 program highlights or 2:30 program highlights start, depending on where you are in the state. And I thank you all for all the time that you've given us today and this week.